Hello everyone, welcome back to another hufo. This is the series where I give you my honest, unfiltered opinions on a variety of subjects that you asked me on Instagram. Before we get into it though, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers membership to something with real practical value. There are countless classes ranging from knitting to street photography, advanced German to easy baking, and everything in between. These classes are designed for real life so that you can learn a new skill set in a reasonable amount of time without having to put everything on hold. To this day, the most useful class I've taken on Skillshare was one on knife skills with Chef Elena Karp. It was 12 minutes in total, and because of that, I am now dicing, slicing, julienning, and mincing in a much more safe and efficient way. As a guitar player who needs his fingertips, this was quite useful, and as someone who enjoys an evenly cut onion, this was quite useful. An annual membership to Skillshare is incredibly affordable, costing less than $10 a month. If you're looking to make 2020 a year where you develop some new skills, check it out using the link in the description to get 2 months of premium membership and explore your creativity. Anyways, let's get to it. By far the most popular topic that you guys wanted my opinion on was John Frusciante's return to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've got a couple things to say on this one. First of all, I'm quite excited. I lost a little bit of interest in the band over the last 10 years or so. I think I listened to the 2 newest Chili Peppers albums maybe once each, whereas all the other albums I've heard countless times. I think Josh Klinghoffer did about as good of a job as anyone could do filling those shoes, but it still kind of lost a bit of magic for me. With the return of JF, I'll certainly see the band any chance I get and listen to any new music they put out intently. However, thinking about this topic made me realize that I don't think I have the same capacity to get excited about music as I used to. As soon as Stadium Arcadium was announced, I was counting down the days till its release. I was checking the Wikipedia page for updates frequently, and when it did come out, I locked myself in my bedroom, turned off all the lights, and listened through it multiple times. However, now I don't think that there's any album that would get me that excited anymore. I don't know why this changed. I kind of miss that feeling, but I'm okay with it. This specific topic just kind of got me thinking about how my relationship with music has changed over the years. Kellen.3 asked my hufo on learning guitar only through YouTube videos. There are some amazing resources available online that weren't there when I was learning music. However, nothing can replace a good teacher and a good group of people that you jam with. I would think of these videos more as additional bonus tools. No YouTube video can specifically address issues with your playing like a good teacher can. No YouTube video can simulate the experience of jamming with people that you really like playing with, and a lot of learning happens on the spot at gigs. YouTube can't replace that, even if it is a great resource. Noah Pauly24 asks my hufo on music of the 2010s. I like this one because I think it's common to hear people say something like, the music of today is so terrible, I wish I lived in whenever. I personally think that the 2010s were a really interesting and in many ways amazing time for music. I think what defines this era is the availability of a vast diversity of music. If you really dislike whatever trendy things the music industry has served up, it's very easy to avoid that. If you can't discover new music that you really enjoy, you probably aren't looking that hard. Over the last 10 years or so, the internet has made it so that niche communities can grow and thrive in ways that they never could when record labels controlled everything. So in this regard, I would say that it's a pretty great time to be a music fan. Another topic that a number of people wanted my hufo on is my hometown and current place of residence, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Winnipeg is a city of about 700,000 or so, right in the middle of Canada. To get to a bigger city, you would need to drive to Minneapolis, which is an 8-hour drive away. To get to a bigger city in Canada, you would need to drive about 14 hours, and that's Calgary. Like anywhere else in the world, there are positives and negatives. First of all, the ceiling in the music scene here is very low. I can't think of many, if any, guitarists who make a comfortable living playing music, not including teaching. That's not to say there aren't great musicians here, there just isn't a ton of work. The positive about this is that these really amazing musicians are quite accessible. Now, should I ever want to transition into a more traditional role in the music industry, I will 100% have to move somewhere else. The harsh reality is, the hungriest and most driven people in the entertainment industry usually move away. On that note, I'm certain that I wouldn't be where I'm at in my career if I hadn't moved away to Toronto. It was being there and seeing what success can look like firsthand that made it seem attainable, and that's been a major motivating factor. On a more positive note, the great thing about living here for me is that I have a huge network of friends and family, and that kind of thing has become much more important to me as I've gotten older. The cost of living is also pretty wonderful here. A house that would cost $2 million in LA costs about $400,000 here. In summary, I don't live here for career reasons. There are things I like, there are things I don't like. At the moment, it still makes sense, though the topic of moving often comes up between Samurai Jenny and myself. Moving on, Max12345 Pirasanti asks, what the best sources of investment income are? Well, I am probably not the guy to ask, but I will tell you one thing. I bought my Korg Miku pedal in 2017 for $150. Now they sell for $400 to $1,700 on eBay. So based on that trend, Next up, we have R. Verissimo Musica, who asks, why isn't jazz a possible and financial viable career anymore in the US? I mean, it boils down to the fact that not enough of the general population have any interest in the genre. Jazz is very much an acquired taste, and non-musicians rarely put in the effort to learn to like it. Therefore, it appeals to a small group. Genres come and go, tastes will change, and for the most part, traditional jazz has been relegated to the school system, and that's okay. It's a great teaching tool, but if you hope to make any real money playing music that was written over 80 years ago, you're probably going to have a tough time. I will say though, if you look for it, you can find elements of jazz in current forms of music. Check out a band like Bad Bad Not Good if you want to see guys who've had a lot of success in a modern form of jazz. Next up is a topic that I suspected was going to come up: fake playthroughs and call-out culture in the online guitar community. If you missed it, there was some drama going on a little while ago where some guys were calling out other guys for speeding up music and miming along to it. Here's what I'll say about this. I think you gotta pick your battles when it comes to this kind of stuff, as there are real life ramifications that come from it. If you do happen to be passionate about this topic, power to you, voice your opinion, but just be aware of the fallout. I personally just don't really care enough about this to insert myself into it, and I don't think there's anything I could add to the convo that hasn't already been said. Say the day comes that there's an issue that I'm invested in, I will happily speak up, and I would hope that my voice will carry some weight because I do that selectively. Next up, we have Jack Goldsmith, who says he wants to start teaching guitar lessons from home and wants my top 3 tips. Tip number 1, have a written and formalized contract that both parties have signed that goes over things like what happens in the event of a no-show and what your policy is on makeup lessons, that kind of thing. These things are going to happen. You can always cut someone a break or be lenient on a policy, but you want the ability to put your foot down, and a contract helps us. Tip number 2, get paid in advance. I used to ask for a full month's worth of payment up front at the beginning of the month. This way, people were less likely to bail on a lesson they'd already paid for, and I would never have to chase them around for money. Tip number 3, have a warm and tidy place. You want your students to be comfortable coming to you, and if it's a total mess, that reflects on your professionalism. And last for today, Daniel Lesetic asks if I think there are any rules to music. There's only one rule that I follow when I'm making music, and that is everything I play should first and foremost serve the song. My musical motivation is not to impress with some flashy solo or crazy chord, but rather to make the best song possible. Sometimes that calls for a flashy solo or crazy chord, sometimes not. People often have a misconception that music theory gives us a list of rules that we need to follow, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Music theory shows us an expectation, and with that information, we realize what kind of impact combining certain sounds together will have. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. As far as any other rules, I guess when it comes to music production, one of my rules is don't do anything that will break equipment, and don't do anything that will lead to my electrocution. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. To get involved in a future one of these, make sure you follow me over on Instagram and pay attention to my stories. Remember, you can use the link in the description to get 2 months of free Skillshare Premium membership. They really do offer a great product, and the recent redesign has made it even better. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to get caught up in the hufo series, hit that link up there. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for a wide range of musical content. Until next time, I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.